Hi guys, it's Charla from That Girl Cooks Healthy. Today I'm going to show you how to make some delicious guava jam using only 3 ingredients. Yes, you only need 3 ingredients to make this delicious, super easy jam recipe. I cannot wait to share with you guys how to make it, so let's get to it. So these are the ingredients you're going to need. You're going to need some fresh guava. I'm using white guava. I actually prefer pink guava, but I wasn't able to get pink guava. I could only get white guava, so I'm just working with what I can get. So any type of guava will work for this recipe. You're also going to need some raw cane sugar, or you can use coconut sugar. If you use coconut sugar, you're going to notice that the guava jam will be slightly darker. I like to rotate between raw cane sugar and coconut sugar, but I didn't have coconut sugar to hand, so I'm just using raw cane sugar. But you do want to use a sugar that is granulated. And I also have some lime juice. Lime juice is naturally alkaline, so I prefer to use that instead of using lemon juice, and this actually helps with the thickening process of when you're making the jam. So I've already washed the guava and dried it. So the first thing we need to do on a chopping board, we need to cut up the guava. So what I do is I top and tail it, so I remove the top and the bottom of the fruit, and then I discard that. I also chop the guava into small pieces, so I chop them into quarters and then I just halve it, and that's about the size that you really want to go with. You want to go with something that's not too big and not too small. Also as well, it does depend on the strength of your blender. My blender is quite powerful, so I don't really need to break it down any more than that, but you might need to break yours down more if you have a blender that is a bit more, is not as robust, because I'm using a Ninja blender. So I'm going to show you a few times with a few of the guava how I chop them up, and then I'm going to show you what it should look like once they're all chopped up. So this is what the guava looks like once it's been completely chopped up, nice and small and ready to go into the blender. So I've transferred the guava into the blender, and I'm just going to put the lid on. And I have one of those blenders that you're able to put the tamper in, so I'm going to use a tamper to help break down the guava. So what I want to do now is really, I'm turning the guava into a puree, so you want to just use the tamper to help break that down. As I said, the results are going to depend on what type of blender you need. I don't need any water for this, but if your blender is not as powerful, you might need to use a small amount of water, not too much, to help break it down. So once it's broken down, I'm going to show you guys what it should look like. So this is what the guava should look like once it is broken down. So I'm just using a spoon to show you guys it's nice and smooth and doesn't have any lumps. So what I'm going to do now is to separate the seeds from the puree. I don't really care for the seeds in guava jam. They're really annoying and I really don't like them. So I like to run the puree through a sieve. You can use a cheesecloth or a nut bag if you want, but I do find it's a lot easier to just do it with a sieve. So you just want to use a spoon now, and you want to keep stirring and pushing down, and that's going to push down into the bowl, and it's going to separate the seeds. And once you do that, all you need to do then is to discard the seeds. So it is going to take a few minutes, and you're going to need to do this in batches. So as soon as the puree passes through the sieve, you want to just top it up by adding more, and repeat the process until all of the, or should I say, all of the puree is in the bowl and the seeds are at the top in the sieve. So this is what the puree looks like, seed free, nice and smooth with no seeds at all. So the next thing we need to do now is to transfer that guava puree to the stove. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to transfer it into a large saucepan. It's a non-stick saucepan. Once I transfer that into this saucepan, I'm going to continue to stir until it heats through. So you just want it to heat through. So you want it to stir it for about a minute or two. Make sure you continue to stir. You don't want to stop stirring just yet, or actually throughout the whole process you really want to be stirring anyway. So just keep stirring, and then when it heats through, then you need to add your granulated raw cane sugar along with the lime juice. Once you add those, you're just going to continue to stir until the jam forms. You will know when the jam forms because the color is going to change, and also you're going to find that the jam, if you use a spoon or a spatula, the jam is going to hold up. So it's really important that you don't take it off the stove too soon, or your jam's going to be runny. You'll also notice as well, when it cools down, it's going to get even thicker. You shouldn't need any type of pectin, or because the guava naturally has pectin, you don't need to have any type of thickener for this recipe. It's just going to thicken up by itself. So it's going to take about, say, 20 to 30 minutes on medium to low heat, continuous stirring until it thickens up. And as you can see now, from that transition stage, that the jam is literally ready. The color has changed, so it's gone from a pale yellow to almost like a slightly caramelized type of almost like a yellow color. So I'm just using the spatula now to show you guys that it's holding its shape and it's thick enough, and that is what you're looking for in terms of texture. And it is ready to be cooled down now and transferred into sterile jars. So now that the jam is ready and cooled down, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to allow it to get really cold now by just pouring it into a sterile jar, and then I'm going to transfer it into my refrigerator. I like to leave it up to several hours to overnight, and I'm going to show you how it looks in terms of its texture once I've left it to really cool down and become really quite chilled. So this is what the jam looks like after I left it to chill for, I think I left it up to 6 hours. As you can see, the texture is a lot thicker, and that's the texture that you're looking for, and that is the right texture for this type of jam. Some people go for it even thicker, but this is the texture that I'm going for. So it's a nice thickness that you can use for any type of recipe, sweet or savory, and it's a really easy recipe to make. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the other side.